We got a box of airplane parts! I'm excited. Since we got a box of airplane parts, you might be thinking, oh my God, what is he putting in his airplane? It must be really exciting. It's actually not that exciting. It's tires. Okay, so why are we replacing the tires? You might have seen my tires recently and go like, well, wait, why are we replacing these? Like, look at them. I still see tread on those tires. Why in the world would you spend money on tires if you still see tread? Well, because here's the thing. These tires, you can really see it right down there. They're showing their age. These tires were installed 5 years before I bought the airplane, and I've had the airplane for about 3 years at this point. And they're starting to dry rot really, really badly. And here's the thing. You might be thinking, well, I'm gonna put some really nice tires on there. No. I know how to land. I don't need really nice tires. That's why they've lasted this long, to get to this state of dry rotted. Let's go over all the things that we're gonna need to replace these tires though. We're gonna need some tire talc. This just helps provide a little bit of lubrication between the tubes and the tires. We're gonna need some grease, because my tires are packed with grease. And we're gonna need some safety wire. So let's start getting this thing up on a jack and replacing these tires. So whenever you're jacking up an airplane, you know, obviously make sure you find an appropriate spot to jack up the airplane. You can't just stick it under a brake caliper or something like that. I've got a little nice spot on my landing gear, the trailing link section, that allows me to just jack up the tire so I don't have to worry about putting it on the actual jack pads and taking it way up in the air. But here we are, we're taking the Schrader valve out. You want to make sure these are 2-piece rims, right? So they're not just like your car tires. They have a tube in them and the rim splits apart. So if you were to try and split the rim apart with the tube still inflated, it would explode. So we don't want that. Now let's snip the safety wire on the brake caliper, because we need to take the brake caliper off to actually get the tire off. Again, it's not like your car. Now we're going to use, of course, the appropriate tools to take off this little jam nut that holds the tire on. And there we go. We got the tire off. It's really that simple. It's like 4 bolts and a jam nut. Now, since the tire's deflated, we can safely split the rim. So here we are. We split the rim. Now we're pushing the tire off of the bead. It's a huge pain since there's a bunch of grease in there. But there you go. It's split. And we're getting the little valve stem out. So you can see all of that grease packed in there. It keeps the water out. That's really what it's for. Let's get the rim out of the other side. Unpackage these tires. These are some nice looking tires. You know, when you compare them to the old ones I guess did have some bald spots on them, but we're throwing these brand new Condors on. We're going to spray the talc in, bunch of it. We want to make sure that these tires don't get pinched up. These tubes don't get pinched up. Make sure you coat the entire inside of the tires so that there's, well, it's smooth. It's kind of like baby powder, right? We got the new tube in. Let's pull the valve stem through the rim. Let's get the other side all seated up and lined up, and make sure that the holes are all lined up. Get the brake disc back on, shoving the bolts back through the holes where they need to go. Now we're going to pump up the tire now that we got everything put back together. And yes, this is a bike pump, okay? And there we go. Tire replaced. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. But I hope this wasn't too boring to watch. I don't know. I'm trying to just post anything and everything at this point. But as always, thanks for watching, and keep it cheesy.